Meeting was called to order at 7:02 PM by Mike Williams. The meeting was posted in accordance with Florida statutes governing documents of the association. Roll call. Present were Mike Williams, Mike Funkhauser, Tammy Rash, Scott Burgoff, Richard Carr, Nick Holbrook, Odie Spard, and Jim Pollock. Jody Randolph was absent. Renee Foster from TCB was also in attendance. Approval of the minutes. Mike Williams made a motion to approve the March 2022 meeting minutes as presented. Mike Funkhauser seconded the motion. The motion was passed unanimously by voice vote. I have a tongue twister. Treasurer's report. Mike Funkhauser made a motion to approve the March 2022 financials as presented. Mike Williams seconded the motion. The motion was passed unanimously by voice vote. New business. Trees. Jerry wants trees removed that are not on the common grounds. He needs to submit an ARC. Tree stumps. Mike Funkhauser made a motion to approve removing 6 stumps for $275. Mike Williams seconded the motion. The motion was passed unanimously by voice vote. Fencing. When trees were trimmed around pool area, fence had to be removed. Scott Burgoff will be getting estimate for replaced fence. ARC approvals. A window replacement was approved. Next meeting, May 25th, 2022, 7 p.m. Adjournment. Mike Funkhauser made a motion to close the meeting at 7:40 p.m. Richard Carr seconded the motion, and the motion was passed unanimously by voice vote.
And I'm now going to make a motion that we go ahead and approve the minutes. I'll get a second. All in favor? And that's unanimous. All right, we didn't do the treasurer's report, so basically got the idea. I'm going to move that we go ahead and approve them. Can I get a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
We're using the management company here.
She has to,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
her second bout with it, and she's been vaccinated.
Good times.
Get the
All right,
drivers.
so that's out of there. For new business, first thing I wanna hit is, most of you know, we've been having a problem with strangers using the pool. Not this past Sunday, but the one prior to that, Porter and I walked over there and ran off 2 women that were using the pool. They weren't very nice about it, but they left. Thursday, I believe it was, the same 2 women were back, and they were very impolite. Porter got them first, they were ugly with her, and weren't very nice with me. The police came and escorted them off the property. Next one, I'll have them arrested. But I want to ask you, we all make any snap decisions. Give it some thought about the best way to handle that. I mean, the least expensive way to do it, and I can get it at work, is cut a piece of heavy chain that gate shut with a padlock, issue 1 key per household. If they lose, because we've had a problem with people losing their keys over the years, lose it, it's gonna cost you $20 for a replacement. They're gonna cost us $2.69 per key.
I go to a lot of HOA. Why don't we get a padlock for the gate that goes to the bathroom that you can't duplicate? Because the problem with it is people can duplicate the keys.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
The problem is, with the exception of US mailboxes, almost any key can be duplicated. It's illegal to duplicate US mailboxes.
Yeah, government keys in general.
How-
Government keys.
I get a lot of-
I might have a easy for this. What about a combination? And we can change the combination at any time we'd like.
The only problem that I see with the combination lock.
I mean, I use it a lot. I mean, I have a lot of this for my work. So, so basically, we can have like in my house, I mean, they have two people per household. So that, like a husband or whatever. So we're the only one allowed, and then if they try to make a copy with it, when they go to Home Depot, they're not allowed to. Because that's true.
So is it-
It says not to.
there's.
Do not duplicate or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
The only problem with a security key is it's only typically as secure as the reputation of the place that you go to.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's had a security key duplicated before, it's not foolproof, it's not, there's not the security key police to stop you. But it's, again, the average person will go, oh shucks, I can't duplicate it and move on, but they are still technically duplicated.
Right.
It's just filing metal, it's not.
Well, how did these ladies get in? Do they have access, a key or something to get in?
There's no
Okay,
way,
so-
no lock it.
I-
You know, part
always had a problem since I've been in the neighborhood with people
Right.
coming that don't belong there.
And they break the locks?
They leave garbage there, they dirty up the
Right.
areas, and they don't belong.
If I may. I used to be in a fraternal organization that did have a security key for the front door. We were going to have it rekeyed and, about 20 keys given out, security keys. And I think that was gonna be in the neck of the woods, about 12 to 1400. So it's a little more expensive for that system and for those keys. Obviously, we don't know until.
And
we
we'd
get some
expect
sort of price point.
125.
At a certain point, is it worth the peace of mind that it is harder for these keys to be duplicated? But I would say we would have to be very stringent on if you lose a key, it's not gonna be cheap to replace said key.
Well, the problem that we have had in the past is somebody would break the lock, stick a screwdriver in it, whatever, and then you have to replace the lock. So we could spend the added money for a security lock and security key, but know that we're gonna have that same problem again. That's why I was thinking just a heavy duty master lock. Problem with a combination lock is, A, they have to remember the combination. When they lose it, we're gonna be calling everybody up wanting to do the combination. There are no good answers.
When I first became on the board, matter of fact, I don't even think I was on the board yet, but because I was doing all the pool stuff, we had that lock broke. We had the lock replaced.
Right.
Before I could get all the keys given out to everybody, the lock was broke again.
Is there a security
We had
camera
that
there
happen
too?
twice within a
So
month.
people are breaking the lock intentionally, you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be enough for breaking and entering to arrest the people right there that are,
The trick is to.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, about a camera.
That's right, right, a camera.
No, I mean, then, not that expensive anymore.
Right, they're super cheap. You can have them at your home.
Then we could put it right by the.
Yeah, but
by the
Certainly could.
Who's going to
gate.
watch it though?
That, no, yeah.
It only
we could
has
have
to be
somebody.
reviewed if something.
Yeah, only if something happens. Only when a thing happens is the only time we got to look at it.
You know, make it people like, okay, I'm not belong here, you know what I'm saying?
Right, so they call it theft deterrent, like just to make people not want to try.
There's a camera up there.
Yeah.
That's not working, correct?
Correct.
That's aimed at the pool, it needs to be aimed at.
Maybe we can build a wall.
Put alligators in the pool.
Yeah.
Keep 'em out.
Makes Cedar Run great again.
Also, I forgot to tell you, they also bring alcoholic beverages up there.
That's it.
We made some people aware of that. and got-
Scottled Trump.
So let's do a little bit of thought, instead, we're not making decisions tonight, we're trying to keep an eye on the pool pretty closely at the moment. So let's do a little bit of thought, try to come up with something, we don't wanna spend $2,000 on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you're buying 100 keys, $2.69 a piece, it's a couple $100. If you're gonna buy keys that are gonna be grand, that's something else to consider. So, let's just, everybody think about it, we can discuss it again next month.
Yeah, well,
That way we've got
do-
time to do a little bit of homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of technologically advanced options that are cheap that I'm sure that if we look into it a little bit, we could find something that would benefit our needs. Cost effective too.
Maybe I can look at the perimeter score and see what locks they
Right,
have.
we got
We have master locks.
we got stuff.
That shouldn't be a problem. So,
Table the idea.
skip one item and move to the most painful one, which is gonna be long-term delinquencies. We've got a couple, we have one resident who's over $2,000 in the hole with us. We have an ex-resident, she's dead, so we're three in the hole. What I would like to suggest is we leave the one with the dead woman up to our attorney to, when he notifies us that we can proceed.
Who owns the house?
That's our main right.
Did well, did she will it to anyone? No?
The bank has,
As far as I know, the bank has it, but they haven't foreclosed.
My last check is technically still in her name. I met their next of kin. So the answer is, from what I understand, that the bank has not, which is very strange in this day and age, not have already taken possession, because it's been, what,
Yeah.
a year and a half now?
Wow. So this wasn't like a month ago. This was
Well, yeah, in today's day and age, foreclosure process
Usually
is
the
very quick.
banks work fast on
that's
that.
funky.
Something's happened there, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you've got dead people, it becomes a little bit more complicated. But I'm gonna ask, we need to vote on it, so I can tell the attorney that we did. But the one that's 2,000 and change in the hole has been
Pit bulls get evicted with the owner, okay.
Alright, so that's out of the way. Last thing on my list is, I've heard from a couple of people that it'd be a good idea if we added 2 more people to our ACR. It's been tending to move very slowly. I'm gonna suggest and nominate that we add, Nick and Lisa. That way it's 5 people, we should never have people waiting for more than a week to approve.
What's moving slow now?
ARC is moving slowly.
On,
Well,
what we've,
there's some stuff that needs to be faster, like, for instance, the, downspout, it took like 2 months almost. Remember the email? So, that's.
well, now, I do recall it was right before a meeting and nobody brought it up in the meeting. We had another one brought up in the meeting. Wouldn't that be something to bring up in the meeting? I mean, Terry and I were both here at the time, as well as Mr. Pollock.
What about the ARC
And-
one for 3709 Driftwood? She's trying to get the roof. She submitted the form.
We okayed
Didn't we
that.
okay that over the internet in a matter of like a week?
It was
Renee
submitted.
was supposed to send it out to her and let her know.
I never heard anything about it, cause I submitted it on her behalf, as your husband was having gallbladder surgery at the time.
Right.
So that sounds like very possibly maybe the management company might not have sent that out in a good amount of time, which any amount of people that we add is not gonna speed that up.
We only know about the gutter person and their roof person.
Right, we only know about the people that send things.
Yeah.
At the last meeting, he gave us something from his house,
Right.
and then he just noted the tree from his house, so
So-
that's all I know about.
Yeah, I mean, if the management company's not giving it to you guys or the Architecture Review Committee, nobody's gonna sign it. So,
In regard to this, why, if you guys get something over the email, why can't you just address it over the email thing, rather than
Yeah.
having to wait for the meeting?
well, we can and we have.
Well, Mr. Pollack has never addressed one.
He has, yes, he has.
I've never seen his name on one.
Well, he certainly has. He sent me one a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, we could do this online. It's just a gutter spout."
I'm not getting them, Mike's not getting them.
Well, because it's going to the committee, it's not going to the board.
Should go to everybody. Yeah,
Well, and
because
well then that would be something that the management service would send to everybody. If they're only sending it to us, they're only sending it to the committee. You know what I'm saying?
I can take care of the other end of it. It's my personal feeling that it would be, 5 people would be better than 3. It's
Really,
certainly.
I kind of agree with that, because if somebody's out of town for an extended period of time.
So if there's a hurricane and your roof is bad, do you still have to go to the board to get it up? It's just if I wanted a new roof, I have to go to the board?
Yeah.
You just need to
Why is
file-
that?
It's always been that way, Cheryl. It's just an ACR form, it's a piece of paper. And that's why I don't want it to take any length of time. The way before an ACR it was done was, I want to replace my roof, I want to cut this tree down. And it would be a question of a couple of hours and it would be approved. And that's really the way, functions.
Does anybody see a negative to add 2 more people at it? I don't see a negative.
Well, I don't see it making anything faster.
Can you?
You know what I'm saying? I don't see adding. I just don't think it would make things fast. Not that it would make anything worse, but adding 50 people to it wouldn't make it faster either. You know what I mean?
I don't think that would, because that's what I wanted to do, but there's been none in the neighborhood, there's never been a vote on one.
On
I think we should.
on a what?
Why not?
So
Jerry Cox on my street asked to have it done, and it was submitted a couple of years ago, and it was agreed that he can have it, but when he found out how expensive it was, he went for
To do what?
Put a
Metal roof.
metal roof.
A metal.
Oh, metal roof. Oh,
Yeah, first, I don't.
He
Keep
was
up with
given permission, he
technology.
just didn't do it because it was too
And
expensive.
if it's better, why would we tell people they can't have it?
I'll have metal roofs at this time.
I can say one comment, or one little thing on it, in my opinion, is, I do think it'll look awkward having the, let's say, one person got a metal roof. However, I'm in agreement that if it is obviously a better roof.
Yeah.
So why would we stop somebody just because it looks awkward having one person? Because before you know it, there'll be more than one person. I could
Oh, yeah.
understand if we all had like the tile roofs.
Right.
Then you don't allow a metal roof, but we just have
And
regulations.
I think we'd have to like literally make it in the bylaws to say like no roofs of this, or only these would be allowed, because I could see somebody fighting on that.
Well, I know some associations, like the ones that have those tile roofs, they make you have.
Right, but they like note it in the bylaws saying you must have this type of roof, or you cannot have this type of roof, where they make it real clear cut, where we don't have that yet, you know. I don't think so either, of course not. If it makes your house worth more and it protects it, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think a metal roof is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
I know the same with
Plus, it just
mailboxes.
needed fixed.
I mean, I
No,
do.
any kind of mailbox, any kind of mailbox.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, the
No,
homeowners,
I was talking about that.
I mean,
the homeowners are getting younger and younger, so they're probably gonna be here for a long term, so you're gonna see that term over time.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I like the idea.
I know
If I was
personally,
planning on
if
saying
they
we
deal,
don't
if you
want
were to put one, with Ronald McDonald on it, I'd say, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Or like a dolphin mailbox.
Why not?
Yeah,
It's Florida.
why not?
We could pass that on a case by case.
Yeah.
So, all right, the last thing, and it's on, under old business. is-
Wait a minute, we're still on the ARC committee thing, right?
Well, let's go ahead and vote. Who wants? I'm gonna make a motion that we move it to 5 people and we pick those people's time, Nick and Lisa. All in favor?
I seconded,
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
unanimous.
Okay.
All right, so that's,
But
but
but,
we still haven't solved the problem, like, when we get the form, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna wait till the next meeting, or are we gonna make a special?
No, we should do it by email like we used to do.
right, just do it by email. When you get
Yeah, if there's no need to meet, we can do it online, right?
So as
I would say so, cause what if it was an emergency repair, like the roof's in dire need,
Right.
it's leaking?
We were
Well, that would be a perfect internet resolvable within the day, right?
2 years, all we did was just tell the management company that it's free, and that's the way we should operate. It's
Cause I know getting a new roof takes a lengthy process, to get it all backed up.
Right.
Sure. As a newer board member and homeowner, last time I had an interaction with the ARC was for my roof. And I just make it as easy for the ARC committee, I can emails away, I sent them a palette, this is my shingle color.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, this
That was
is my
beautiful.
contract.
Yeah.
And it asked me to start dates this date, and I got it back in, I think, under 36 hours, and that's how it should be. The answer is unless I send them, here's my pink shingles, and my contractor's Charles Manson.
Right.
You know,
Right, exactly. And I do remember that. And yeah, it was, yeah, I mean, you had everything laid out very nicely. And really, just like Mr. Funkhauser did, he had everything laid out very nicely. I think the only time there'd be any issue at all would be if, like, they signed something, like you said, something crazy like that, or not enough information,
and then maybe discuss it at a meeting.
and discuss it at a meeting when we have, yeah, where they go, look, this is what they're
Right,
giving us.
A best judgment, if you look at this, like, every common person would say, that's fine. I think
Right,
that-
there's, yeah, how many out of 100 things?
Yeah.
It's 60 days from the time they submit. So if something, pink flamingos are gonna be printed on the roof or something, I'm sure the email thing would work, but if that gives you time, say if they submitted it today, and then we don't have a meeting for 30 days, that 60-day window gives you time to present and then decide. So,
Well, yeah, there's some, things that this survey,
right.
like addition, things like that.
That-
But it's just.
Change the roof. There wouldn't be a need to bring the board into that.
Done.
It would,
Yeah, only if there was something.
if there was something obnoxiously, hugely, strangely, that the board would need to talk about. I don't see the reason for the board to, have to take time, or the committee,
No, but they have to.
you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, hey, this, you know what I'm saying?
And
Okay.
the entire time I've been up here, we got one request for paint that, now, I don't see colors really well, but it sounded like they wanted to paint their house brick red. And I went to Tammy and I went to Barbara Bain and said, what do you think? And they did a little homework and they came back and said, no, she just wants to paint her shutters that color. So everything got done within 48 hours and it was approved and taken care of. And that's really the way it ought to work.
And, right, and there was no need to have a huge meeting about it, right?
No.
Right.
So last thing on the agenda,
So I was on the committee last time, we were on the finding committee.
It doesn't cost the HOA.
That's correct, it does not cost the HOA money, really, now,
But how does it prevent people from just doing whatever they want in the neighborhood though?
Well, they know right off the bat, they're gonna have to pay $300 for the attorney's fees as soon as they get that letter. The problem with the finding committee, and I've heard this from probably 15 or 20 people in the neighborhood, stop me and ask questions, is you're sitting neighbors against neighbors. It'd be, hey, I live next door to you, but I'm gonna fine you $100 a day for the next 30 days. That doesn't make for a harmonious relationship. I think it would be wiser to not have the personal relationships interrupted. Just let the attorney handle it, then it's just business.
well, so there are some laws put in place that a finding committee needs to enact before we can take certain legal actions. This is what happened the last time I was on the finding committee. Now, I can tell you, I'm glad you used that number, because,
The letter sent in the mail that you have 30 days to correct the violation before we go forward.
Yeah, and they still have.
right? But there are several, you have to send several letters. It's not just like one and done. It is 3 letters at the very least, so that's a total of 90 days. And then, and say, like you said, the first letter comes in, you go, the second letter comes in, third letter. Now, at this point, that's 3 letters. The board has sent 3 letters, and at this point, now you have like some backing, some evidence that you've talked to the person, you've sent letters, verified and such. Now, my standing in the finding committee last time we were here is, you were there in the meeting, but I remember that the guy down the street had a large yellow trailer, and it was an ungodly large trailer. It took up the entire driveway, and to the point where it was people, just like you said, neighbors were like, hey, we don't like this thing here. It's causing problems here. We don't like it. And that's how they reported it to the board. Then the board sent letters saying you can't have one here. People don't like it. Then we sent letter. And then the finding committee was born through the management service said we need 3 people not related to the board, not on the board. It's got to be very clean of the board. All right? You have 3 people who have no relation to the board whatsoever. There were 3 people here in the meeting that said, we'll do it. And we met at the, it was Omega? Is that the name of the, Omega?
No, I think it was Fairways, but I could be mistaken.
It was Omega. Yeah, it was Omega.
The old management company did do drive-bys in the neighborhood.
It was the Omega company. Yeah, I knew it was a Greek letter. I couldn't remember Sigma or Omega.
They could be finding the president as far as they're concerned.
It's a neutral party.
Thank you, neutral party. So we met outside of where we normally meet, outside of the board. Only the 3 members went there. They presented the case essentially of this is what we found, this is what it is, and they came to look, we're going to give you one last chance to discuss this because we're going to take this to court. If you don't, basically it's the last chance you can discuss this. So we had our 3 people there. It was right before Christmas, 2000. I'm going to say 18 because it was before COVID. They said, look, what's the deal? The guy that sold him the house was actually their realtor, was a cousin of sorts, and he was like, look, this is the paperwork. It says XYZ on the description that like the realtor put up. This is why we're under that impression. We said, okay, well, look, that's not what's going on. You're not allowed to put a trailer here. Here's the bylaws that say you're not allowed to put a trailer. We understand that you might have been bamboozled or hoodwinked into believing this, but that's just not the case. Here's the deal. We are telling you right now, this is what's up. We're physically here talking, and we came up, so we're allowed to find up to $1,000. And well, it's $1,000 total. It's not X amount of dollars a day. We can find them $1,000 at this point even. It's the discretion of the committee to do that. But the number is $1,000. After that, then it goes to legal. And then we can take it on a legality standpoint. Really what this is a last-ditch effort to not get a lawyer involved, not spend any lawyer money or lawyer time, and you're threatening a monetary value. So what happens is number one, you're having them the allowability to meet up and speak on their behalf what's going on here. They can defend themselves. We come up with the committee, or finding committee, that's why Charlotte's here right now, for an allotable amount, what we feel is right or fair or whatever, and it prevents any legal action from happening at that time. It's a last-ditch effort before legal gets involved.
You go up to the people themselves?
We send them the management company sends them a letter saying, we're having a meeting, and if you don't show up, then you've forfeited your right. No.
Didn't show up because they were in New York.
No, they had a representative for them, but they were not around. They didn't come. I can tell you that for sure.
They
Oh, the owners of the home. Okay. Yes, because they were renting to these people.
Tenants, because the tenants were German.
We're European. Okay, fine. Those damn the Germans. All right, but yes, okay. So then you're familiar with the situation there.
In my street, I was very familiar with.
Okay, so yeah. Now keep in mind, I know you said you don't want to pit like neighbor against neighbor, and I understand that. But when like if Charlotte was my neighbor and she had a problem with something in my house, she would eventually tell the board, hey, I don't like this thing that's going on at the house. So any infraction will be reported just the same. I wouldn't say it would pit any neighbor against neighbor. That's how infractions get reported to the board. You know what I mean? Having that committee, number one, protects us because now we have something in place that we did before legal. We have it documented that we talked about. We have it documented that we sent letters. We have every piece of evidence essentially in our favor before we move on to something that will cost us money, because a committee will not cost us money. A committee is just costing time.
It doesn't cost us money either, because it costs whoever it is that comes up in court.
But that's going to be brought up. Did you have a committee? Did you have a meeting? Did you physically tell them? Basically, it's in every possible, we covered every single base we could. And this committee only needs to meet when necessary, too. This committee only met one time. We figured it out there and then. And then if we wouldn't have figured it out, then we would have went to legality.
Actually, nothing happened that time.
Yes,
We didn't get any money, we didn't find them.
right?
The trailer stayed put until the tenant moved to Las Vegas some months later.
The trailer moved before that meeting.
No, because they moved it for a day or two, but it was right back in the driveway, and then it stayed there until they moved to Las Vegas.
Then that would be we go to legal then. You know what I mean? If they move for a couple days, then that's a,
We didn't say that, I mean, we can debate it all we want. Personally, I don't think it's a wise idea. I think it's a lot cleaner to say, Carl, here's this, please handle it. Make the homeowner pay your legal fees. And at that point, we're done.
but I think that there may be some, I want to just respectfully disagree on the fact that I think that we may need to have more action on our part to take to the lawyer to ensure that these things.
I'll ask the management company again to talk to Carl, but I did speak to,
You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, cool.
I did speak to the management company about this last week, and they say in the vast majority of cases and neighborhoods that they operate, they just send it to the attorney, that way the neighborhood doesn't have to get involved, there's no hard feelings, neighbor against neighbor. You get your money quicker, you get results quicker, and the attorney collects directly from the person that has the problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, from my perspective, yes, of course, in a perfect world, maybe a finding committee, but also when you can say, Mike, I don't like your trailer, man. And the answer is, I call Mike, other Mike, and other Mike says, hey, man, I'll take a look. You're totally right. That's against the way it should be. And say, hey, attorney, would you please handle this? And to me, it just seems like a very quick, very automated process that if it is indeed legal and it dots all the I's and crosses all the T's, effectively removes it out of our hands. The answer is, that all we know is, here's the problem, and it's no longer my problem, unless I need to be made aware of that is, again, my problem once more. The biggest draw for me is no manpower, no cost to us, where it's just a seamless, nobody needs to be aware of it, nobody needs to take care of it, it can just get passed off, and we know an attorney is handling it and presumably crossing every T, dotting every I. Because I know that, because I did, after last meeting, I did a little research, and you're right, as somebody who's relatively aware of how HOAs function, is pretty.
You get out on a technicality, yeah.
Presumably, as long as they're doing everything correctly, the attorney's office, which I would imagine is so, here you go, homeowner, fix it, there's your first $300 bill, would you like another?
Mhm.
And are you aware of whether that $300 counts towards HOA fine, or if it's completely separate?
At that point, you wouldn't be fining, the HOA wouldn't be fining them.
That's kind of my point, is that this is a separate,
It's a separate.
Right, the HOA would be fining in the committee.
yes.
So
It doesn't get any money, just attorney.
that's right. So the fining committee would fine on behalf of the board. So
The whole
the
purpose
board,
of the thing is to get some.
revenue,
Person pay a penalty, no matter who.
I mean, at brass tacks, it's enforcing compliance. I don't think it's a consistent So the answer is, I gotta pay some guy over there $50 to enforce compliance. In my mind, okay.
How do you handle warnings, letters, and things like that? Are there warning letters set first, or does it just go to the attorney instantly and when we see a violation?
What we've done in the past is we can, the problem in the past was like when we had Omega, we stopped it with Fairways, is, I will never forget, the one month they drove around and we were questioning, why is our postage bill so high? And they had sent 89 letters.
Oh my God. I remember that.
Your grass was too damn tall.
And it was like it was their ambiguous measurements of what they felt was an infraction. It wasn't really ours. It was what they felt was an infraction.
I know the owner of Omega.
Oh, okay.
From another life, and I actually brought that up to him. I was like, but because you guys are presumably familiar with Casabella.
Okay.
There on North Wickham Road, you know, your price point, and they are 700 and up.
Right.
They manage in there, and I've had to deal with them in there for clients when I was in real estate, and that's how they operate. But that's Casabella. We're Cedar Run.
Right.
We're
Yes.
That's 800. Just keep your house looking relatively nice, and we're all friends here, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need that, but again, the question of whether, how the warning shots over the bow go before somebody gets a $300 bill in a
Right.
neighborhood that's not.
The way it's worked, I'll give you an example, is I got a complaint about a mailbox on Driftwood. And so it was just shabby, leaning, looked terrible. So I had TCB send her a letter. She immediately, I mean, within a matter of a couple of days, got a new mailbox. No hard feelings, no animosity, no acrimony.
No charge from TCB. Besides a postage stamp or something like that.
It's like $1 for.
Yeah, nominal fee.
envelope.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the least expensive and cleanest way to do it. We don't get a lot of complaints about other people's houses. Go ahead, Charlotte.
I have a new neighbor, renter, she's a very nice lady, she just moved in, she has a tiny little cute dog, but she opens up the door and lets the dog do his thing. So I'm on my lawn, but I have to walk through there to turn my spigot on for my hose. What's a nice way to tell this lady to,
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That way it's not on you. Text me the address, you've got my number, and I'll have TCB send the letter saying you cannot let the dog out.
no, no, no.
Take this shit and put it on her doorstep.
Yeah. Put it in a paper bag, light it on fire. Put it on her doorstep. Right.
Omega culture.
I heard about that, so I was kinda waiting for you to bring it up. But text me the address, I'll have it sent, and if they don't comply, we'll get nasty. I mean, it's, you know Suzanne that lives on Park, that woman,
Yes,
she lets her dog out, I can stand there and yell and scream at her, and she'll nod and smile,
Oh, yeah.
but she don't hear anything, so I'm
Right.
wasting my time.
Oh my God.
All I have to do is hope the dog doesn't get
Yeah.
killed, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Again, back to the subject at hand, if TCB charges effectively $0 for the warning shot,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
do
like a lot.
3 warning shots or whatever the rules are with warning shots, and then
I do think in most scenarios, a warning shot would probably get the job done, which I like the idea, because we don't obviously wanna be just making, just patting the.
Tyrants. Yeah.
I don't want the, I mean, I myself have broken, occasionally kept my trailer in the thing knowing I'm not supposed to do it. I try not to do it on a regular basis. But I'm using myself as an example. I wouldn't wanna get fined just for a one-time circumstance every 4 months or something, you know?
Right, but again, these things say you have 30 days, like you brought up. You got 30 days to fix this, and it's 3 letters before, and 90 days. So, yes, exactly. One instance, of course, you wouldn't want to do that, and you're right. Generally, 1 letter, and if like you said, if TCB doesn't charge, because it comes down to the almighty dollar, I would believe at that point. Well, oh.
You got an envelope and you got a piece of paper.
But and the like you said, the legalities too. The legalities, because you wouldn't want to go, yep, we did all, and they go, well, how about your fining committee? Oh, we don't have one. Well, then I can't work on this case. You know what I mean?
I do have one question though regarding not having a fining committee. If you don't have a fining committee, I understand your job is to enforce something like a trailer or painting your house or putting up a structure. But what about in a circumstance where somebody cuts down a tree that they're not allowed to cut down? What do you do at that point? You just fine them $300? They may just say, okay, I'll take
here's $300, bye.
Cutting down the street, I don't want it there.
I know of a case on my street, some years back, didn't even come to me. But he had a tree that was dying, he cut it down, he said, he knew they were gonna try to find him for it, and he didn't really give a damn. And so they cut it down, and the neighborhood, which wasn't done legally at that time, but the neighborhood fined him $50.
Right.
Considered that he got
Doesn't
off.
stop a boom.
And the reason I know it wasn't legal at that time is because about that time I got stopped while walking my dog and told they were fining me $50 for not picking up after. Who says? Not telling. When did this happen? Not telling. Where did it happen? Not telling. And at that point I just told the guy, and I'm not paying. And that's where it's been to this day.
Well, I regret, because I paid a $50 fine when Jim Pollock was on, when he was the president.
Same
I got a
guy.
$50 fine for putting my garbage out, I cleaned out my garage on a Saturday. But I got a $50 fine because I didn't put it out on a Tuesday. And I spoke with him directly and said, is there any way we can waive this? He goes, Scott, you know what a garbage day is. I said, I was cleaning out my garage. I said, I only have Saturday and Sunday to do it. I said, you can't just let it go this one time? You know what a day garbage day is. So I think there needs to be some reasoning behind it, you know, that was just, I wish I would've known we didn't have a fine thing, because I wish I could get that 50 back, I hate the fact that.
Well, and frankly, I could see you going, well, if we ain't got a fining committee, then screw your $50.
To make me pay $50, I'm cleaning out my garage.
Precisely.
I understand in some circumstances, you would paint your house fluorescent green, you're not supposed to do it.
Right, and in that case, definitely a fining. You know, if there's no fining committee, then I can see you going, oh, what are you gonna do about it? You know, I get that, totally, I get
I
that.
might have been 30 years old at the time, I bought my house when I was 28, so I didn't know any better, I just got a $50 fine, okay, I'll pay it, you know, I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, but looking back, I wish I know what I knew now, I would've said, take your 50 and shove it.
Well,
I'm paying it.
precisely, and
They gotta give you a warning anyway.
Right.
Even if you made a mistake, you gotta, you will be there for it.
But, I mean, go ahead, Gary.
I wanna come back to the lady that's letting her, that's a renter, to dog pimping. A lot of times the renters don't know the rules, and if we would know that they're a renter, instead of being, you know, this, that, or the other.
Well, Florida law is, number one, you are not supposed to have your dog run around without a leash.
Right, right.
And you're supposed to pick up, that's the law.
Yes, but we
Well,
also
number one,
have
pick up
certain
number two.
locations that you're supposed to walk your dog in this neighborhood.
We do?
Yeah.
Supposed to go down the main drag.
Yeah,
I
right.
think they did the playground, which I think is a terrible idea.
oh yeah, with the kids running around,
It's still posted, no
Yeah.
tax.
it is.
I know when Bruce was president, at one point, they argued, and it got passed at some point, that the playground was a dog walking area, which I was not happy about.
The only thing that was
No,
done.
the tree line is supposed to be where you walk your
Yeah.
dog, on the side by the fence,
Right.
not on the side by the houses.
Yeah.
Well, there's a problem with that, and the way, I'm not gonna walk on the other side of the road, and the reason for that is the way people in our neighborhood
Cars,
drive,
yeah.
not good. I mean, I had someone, that all of y'all would know if I brought it up, missed me and my dog within the last week by about 2 feet. They made no effort to move off to the side.
Yeah, Bonnie got hit too, remember?
Maybe it wasn't accidental.
I was looking right at it.
It was him, it was him.
It was me.
Stop wearing a mask.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
What I'm gonna suggest is that we just continue basically the way we're doing it. First 2 letters would come from the management company, first one's nice, second one's a little bit less nice, and mention, next time you hear from us, you'll hear from our attorney. They get 3 notices, it's gonna take 90 days, but I think.
She
it'll-
works at home, I know, she's always home, so,
I like that idea.
yeah, I do too.
I'm gonna move that we go ahead and do the, start handling it that way instead of setting up another committee.
just real quick though, the reason I just kind of wonder about this is because if you remember last month, the management lady brought it up. You know, we need to find people, et cetera, or find individuals to be on the fining committee, sorry. And it just seemed like she stressed it. I just don't know if that's,
In my, and I mean, you could ask her, but the way she expresses it to me is she thinks the attorney is a much better way to go. It's faster, it's cleaner. You're not turning neighbor against neighbor. This way, if somebody wants to get mad about it, I'm not gonna get mad at me.
right. I just sounded like there needed to be for legality purposes, just like you said, the myriad of rules. All right. I would just ask that only because she brought it up in the last meeting and she kind of made a bit of a point.
She said there was two ways it could be done. The way we're doing it was to send them to an attorney or send them to a finance committee. And she
Went through the whole, you gotta have this, you gotta have this, gotta have that, right.
is not a fan of it.
Okay,
We'll clarify that again, so.
there you go, yeah.
What I'm gonna suggest, and I'm gonna move, is that we go ahead and dispense with the idea of a finding committee and continue the way we're going. I will check with her and have her check with the attorney, and if I'm wrong in any way, then we can revisit the situation.
Cool.
Any sign of the irrigation coming back?
Not, I'm aware of, Charlotte.
It's free water.
It might be free water, but, you know, I didn't get these numbers done, but
Our grass looks awful.
Tammy had an estimate on fixing the ones on the north side of Tree Line. This was several years ago. They came back, if I recall correctly, about 40 grand. We ain't gonna have 40 grand to spend on
40
sprinklers.
grand to do what?
To fix the
Yeah,
sprinkler
but-
system.
I thought all our pipes were in there.
It all got tore up when they put drain pipe into the pond.
You're talking about on the
The
fence
north side
side.
of Tree Line.
I'm talking about the homes, the ones that I have a sprinkler system at my
The
house.
neighborhood never paid for homeowner sprinklers unless there was water in common areas, and then the homeowner got, like the woman on my street, Miss Trudeau, gets, I think it's like $12 a month.
Yeah,
Pay
right,
for
that's
electric
what I
bill.
think Pete and I were paying.
I have sprinklers with an indexing system right there, that's hooked straight into city water. Yes, I don't put on my sprinklers unless it's dry as all get out, cause that's, when you pay for that, you're paying for the water out.
Yeah.
And then the city says any water that you've used, they assume that it uses the sewer too.
It's sad that we have free water and we can't use it. It's sad. And our grass is everyone's, especially with this dry season.
Charlotte, the only way that can be handled anytime soon would be to do another assessment like we did for the drainage project. And, you know, pay for it that way. We're not gonna have 40 grand to
We
spend.
had it for so many years, so much, and boom like that. Because he got sick or something. It wasn't because we did not have the money.
You can't do the drainage project without digging all that stuff up. There's no way to avoid it.
It's sad.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's sad.
yeah, so back to, I'm gonna move that we go ahead and dispense with the finding committee and continue the way we've been operating for several years now.
Everybody else second?
Alright, so that's all in.
You second?
And at this point, I'm gonna, it's not on the agenda, but Lynn, I see you sent a letter in about, when was the last time your street flooded? I know it's been a while.
It was 2015
Okay.
that I had the damage to my house. But what's happening now is when it rains, the water gets in the cul-de-sac and now it's putting in dirt. It's getting mud. So it seems to be getting worse for some reason. I don't know where the dirt's coming from, but it's putting in mud when it gets rain.
I can answer the dirt thing. It comes from people's tires mostly. It's on my street. It's on,
Oh.
it's everywhere.
I will tell you that we do have a flooding in the cul-de-sac, a flooding problem on Dogwood.
Yeah.
She may be talking 2015 since she had flooding in her house, but every big rain, big floods across the
Yeah,
entire
it
street.
does,
That's
yeah.
because hardwood is, there's two houses on hardwood that are actual flood zones. Like required by the mortgage company to have flooding. Legitimate. To the best of my knowledge, there is no other floodplain in their neighborhood. What I would suggest, because the way it would work is if you had to move to do something about it, I have to ask the city. They're gonna require I get an engineer. We're gonna have to hire a contractor to do it. And I don't know, but I do know this.
do that?
Can people do that?
No, the
They
city
can
does
do
it.
it.
The city does it.
Yeah,
The
the
city
city
does
is
it.
between the swale and the street.
Right.
Well, can you call them and tell them
that's
to do
as
it?
easy, Lynn, as you just call them up and ask them.
Yeah, I've done that, but now that when it rains now, there's dirt coming
See.
into the cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
And it's still flooding.
The only way I'm gonna want to touch, I don't wanna open a hornet's nest up with the city, because it would be extremely expensive. I don't know that if homeowners were out there doing it, there would be any repercussions. I know on my streets, Stefan takes care of the drain down at the end of the cul-de-sac, tries to keep it clear, and we very rarely have a flooding problem. Richard was just good enough to show me that right near your house, I don't think yours shows up in the map.
Well, I can show where, so there's, basically, at the end of Brentwood and Hardwood, where those streets sandwiching those row of houses going down, would that be the even number? That's not, no, that's the odd number of the street, isn't it? It's this side. So the odd number of Brentwood, there's 6 houses there that are in flood zone, as in when you purchase the house, you will have to have flood insurance. It's coming from the other neighborhood. There's a little tendril like this, so it appears to be some depression there, because when FEMA comes out and draws these maps, you usually use a laser to get your base flood elevation and then how far that area is below PME. So there is some flood zone in the neighborhood.
That water used to come all the way up to my house.
Okay, so, right now, we just can't do anything about it because we don't have the funds, right?
Well, it's not that simple, man.
Yeah,
If I've gotta ask the
it's-
city and then hire an engineer and then hire a contractor, you're not talking $2,000 or $3,000, you're talking
Yeah, okay.
15 or
Oh, the
20
city
or
won't
more.
pay for that, we have to?
That swale belongs to us, it's not gonna be with the city.
That's why I was asking.
So just
you know,
flood
there's
out,
shovels
okay.
or kind of.
And I don't see where that would be a problem. It's kind of one of those things, like, some years back, I lived in a neighborhood that, and they had an HOA, and they wanted you, when your septic tank system failed, put in one of the raised systems with a pumping station, and the price on that, if I remember right, was $18,000. And I wouldn't wanna do it. So I went out there on Saturday morning at about 4 AM, dug up the entire drain field with a shovel, cleared everything out, put plywood down, put the sod that I cut on top of that so no one would see anything. Left it for the next weekend when I had more time, went out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, hand laid a new drain field, hand laid the lime rock, covered it, buried it back up, and took the sod down. And
Man
I
stuff.
didn't do a thing. And it worked better than it ever had. So I think,
Since John Water Main District is a one instance,
Yes.
you hope them, they are not a kind agency.
and the woman that we dealt with, who was a very nice person, was hired. I don't wanna have to deal with any of those people that I deal with.
Okay.
So let's keep an eye on it, Lynn. If it's presenting a problem to you, then obviously we're gonna have to do something. But as long as it's just water in the street, and I think the last time it rained hard, I looked at that, and it was gone from the end of your cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it's draining off pretty good, but it is just putting out dirt for some reason, I don't know where.
Next time it rains, if I can remember, we
Yeah.
walk all the time, I'll come do. And nothing else, just take pictures, see where's the water line stop, and then also see how much mud is it pulling in, if
Yeah,
it's pulling
I
mud.
don't know where the dirt's coming from.
Oh, you might wonder if it's from where they, cut that tree down. Remember they cut 2 trees? Yeah, they cut 2 trees down. I bet that's what it
It
is.
could be, but I noticed if you walk around any street in the neighborhood, as you go further from tree line down towards the cul-de-sac, there's more and more sand there, because that's where it gets deposited. It rains a little bit, start to get water flow, any sand laying there gets washed further down, and there it will stay until there's enough water to wash it away.
I think that side of the neighborhood also is just ever so slightly lower, and,
Right, it is.
so everything, and I mean, that's by design.
doing all they do,
And that
picking
was
up
gonna be
and
my last
cleaning
thing
up.
before I moved to adjourn. Lynn,
Yeah.
in particular, does a bunch.
Lynn and Lisa and
Lynn,
the,
And
Lisa,
Dora,
Cora, and
of course.
Tracy.
yeah,
And we thank you mightily.
yeah,
We couldn't afford to pay people to do all the stuff that way.
right.
And,
I have a question. Did he finish doing the stuff for the pool? The fencing and,
and nothing happened yet. He was working his stump grinder for him, and he a new one, and.
He grinded 2 stumps the other day. I actually watched him do it.
Yeah, I saw
so
him.
it's working.
Where was that at, Nick? Where do you,
One of them's at the end of Driftwood down by Tree Line.
Yep.
That
Both
was the tree
stumps.
Bruce got back down years ago.
There were some trees cut down and they didn't take the stumps down, so.
It was a city stump.
yeah, I saw him with that big thing.
So now that we're through with all that, I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn. Can I get a second? All in favor?
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody, thank you.
Shit, we didn't take attendance.
We got through this one pretty clean. Fight, fire out.
Oh. All right. Well, okay.